Hi, I'm Keisha of Word Xpress.
And I'm Bert of Kush, and you're listening
to In Tune with T. Mill.
Play it loud.
We are progressing and preserving the culture through real conversations with people who've had real success. Multicultural artists and musicians, models, entrepreneurs, innovators, and activists. This is Paradox East, and you are in tune with T. Mill. Powered by the MaitlandConservatory.org.
All right, you guys, welcome to another edition of In Tune with T. Mill. I'm your host, T. Mill, live from the Rocket City, and you will now be encouraged and entertained. Nothing will change until you change something. We're going to change the status quo today. Very special guest, and this has been one of the episodes that I've been looking forward to for a moment. Just because we've been talking about this for a while. We've been just in the same places at the same time and just trying to get this episode going for a while. And as you guys know, we are always live from the Maitland Conservatory right here in the Rocket City, the meekness.org. This In Tune with T. Mill show is powered by the Maitland Conservatory. So thank you guys for supporting that. Make sure you go to the meekness.org to find out about the programs that are here, the music business, the instructions, how to play instruments, how to learn about the music business, and things of that nature. All right, tell them that T. Mill sent you. This episode, we're going to be talking with our special guests, the Word Xpress Reggae Project, and I've got a couple special guests in the building right now for today. This project was inspired by a good friend, Dwight Pope, artist, community advocate, and supporter of the arts in Huntsville, Alabama. And today we're going to be talking about the project that they have that is online right now. You guys can go to wxreggaeproject.com. Once again, that's wxreggaeproject.com to download the music, check out the project. You can listen to it right there and find out more. But we're going to be talking with them today. So I've got in the building with us Word Xpress. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
All right. And also I've got Bert Corbin.
Hey, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Good. All right. Lead singer of the Kush Reggae band. I know you guys have, if you haven't heard about them, you definitely need to get out more and stop sitting behind a computer screen and get out and listen to some of the great music that's out here. So welcome you guys to the In Tune with T. Mill show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us here. And I want to say thank you to the folks that are listening in and they're not, totally indulged with the Super Bowl at this moment.
Right,
they're taking the time out to support some local artists trying to do something positive here in Huntsville and beyond.
Absolutely.
So thank you for tuning in.
Absolutely. And y'all can go back and look at the scores later. We're talking about real art that's going on right here, all right? And the game don't even start for a little bit, so you still got some time. You can listen to us and get your food and festivities going and cut us up loud, man. Call a friend. And I can't do this by myself. I had to call in a professional. This man has been on the radio for 30 years, but he's only 19 years old. Mr. Marcus Sims, how's it going?
Hey, it's always great to be here, T-Mill. Usually you have the squad with you. You have JQ and you have Vonda, but let's be honest, we don't need them for this show.
Oh! I ain't gonna say all that.
We don't need them for this show. The homies holding it down. We're holding it down for this episode of In Tune with T-Mill, and I've got two great friends with me, so looking forward to this interview and all.
Absolutely. Yeah. There you go. As you guys know, man, we would shout out to the squad as well. You guys out there doing y'all thing on vacation and all that good stuff, all right? So we're talking about this project, and with you and I have talked for a good bit about just over, let's see, it seems like 2 years, but I know it's only been like 1 year, but all that stuff last year, like just all the events that were going on, like, man, it was every weekend there was something going on.
Right.
We were always and Marcus as well, like in the same place at the same time. And I've been wanting to do this interview to talk with you about Word Xpress. So for those that don't know, what is Word Xpress? And we're talking about Express with an X, XPRESS, Word Xpress. What is Word Xpress?
Thanks for clarifying the spelling, because that's very important if you're trying to go to the website. Make sure you don't include the E in Express. Word Xpress is a lot of different things, but for today, I'm just going to focus on what it is in relation to this project. So the core of it is, I like to call it We Express. It's where artists, I, in particular, come up with some sort of project and bring in artists that are usually local to produce something that is positive and inspirational to our community and beyond. And so, our first project was the Word Xpress Breast Cancer Project, where we invited writers and poets and survivors from all over the country, really. We had about 35 writers to contribute to this book called the Breast Cancer Anthology, From These Hands We Give. So that was the first, collaborative artist project that Word Xpress produced. And we distributed 1,000 books that were donated by members of the community and small businesses and fraternities and sororities. So on this particular project, we wanted to produce inspirational, positive music with a reggae flavor. And we started off with myself, Keith Reeves, who is the owner of Polarized Entertainment, who is the producer of all of the music on this project, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today. And then there's Bert Corbin. And from there, just the three of us, we created this nucleus to this project and gradually brought in other artists who were songwriters and singers and poets and performers and entertainers. So we began that project January of 2015. Pretty much wrapped it up with 8 tracks by January of 2016. So it was a year-long project. And, we officially released it on October 1st. Kind of took a little break from that, but we plan on coming back in 2017 with, a little more accessibility nationwide and performances, and even expanding the project to some extent.
Well, and even through October, you guys hit the ground running, just with nobody's business from 0 to 60. It was everywhere. There was events, and there was the launch party, and there was the release party. And, unfortunately for Huntsville, it's like as soon as it gets cold outside, came November and December, and everybody's like, I'm not getting out the house. You just gonna have to wait.
Well, actually, to be totally honest, what really kind of put a little bit of a tincture on the whole thing was the election. Everybody was really focused on the election and then the election results. So, and I was kind of burned out. Keith was kind of burned out because when we first got started back in 2015, we were in the studio almost every weekend.
That's a dedication.
I could come in at 12 on Saturday and not leave until 7, and then come back on Sunday and spend a few hours. So we were kind of burned out. And the studio is like, okay, let's take a break and get a little R&R in, and then we'll come back and push this out again.
Okay. Now there's also a video. Let's talk about the video. With Mr. Bert.
Mr. Corbin.
Mr. Corbin. Tell us about the name of the video and sort of how. I don't know. That's a different video.
It's this video. Okay. It's actually this video. Okay. You gotta see it. I think I said the chorus, right?
Yeah, you did. The name of the song is Inherit the Earth.
Okay.
And it's kind of a whimsical type of song, kind of happy feeling. And the part Marcus is referring to is the part where the little children are saying, down, down, baby, down, down the roller coaster. And I think that's his favorite part of the song. But it
says a lot about me.
He's got that youthful energy.
Yes, he very much does. Absolutely. Well, and the whole project makes you feel like that. Just like you said, it's all, powerful, but, light and not light in the sense where it can be easily affect you or inspire you to where you don't have to feel as though you're being preached to or you know what I'm saying. It's one of those ones you can clean the house with, you can turn on when you're on your way to work. If you're feeling upset, you cut it on, and the music and the vibes. It's hard to be upset listening to this. So some people may want to stay upset. They're like, I don't want to hear all this happy stuff making me feel inspired. So it's hard to listen to it, in any one of the songs, or to even watch the video without singing that part or dancing along with it. Or listening to it. So,
but the thing I want to say about that was one of the things we definitely focused on because. during that time when we came together, you know, we really, before we even started writing anything or you know, producing any music, we thought about what is it that we want to accomplish. And one of the things that I was, you know, sort of on my soapbox about was that music today doesn't seem to have a message anymore.
Nah.
You know? I mean, that sort of went out the window back in the 80s after Public Enemy, you know? And it's like, where is the message? So, but at the same time, you can get too preachy if, you know, if you're trying to relay a message, you know? Or you can be kind of, you be kind of heavy. So, you know, our challenge was to be able to keep it light, but also, you know, give you some meat and potatoes to go along with that and have a good time at the same time.
Make you dance, make you, you know, think and sing along to it and have a good time with it. Tell us about the, you know, and also with the launch or the release party. Tell us about that, how that went down and everything.
So, so you can join in at any time, but on October 1st, we had our release party at Club Envy here in Huntsville, Alabama. We had one of the poets who is on the second part of the project to share his rendition of Rose Petals, the song. And, you know, to put it in a poetic form. And so he shared that and recently shared it at another venue, and people went crazy over it. So we're really excited about releasing the second half of the project with all of the youth poets. We also, Bert performed Inherit the Earth. I performed the song Crazy, which I like to call Soul Free, also with Nigel Law, who is a jazz blues guitarist. He's a student over at A&M, about, 22 years old, but very, very good at guitar. And so we sort of did like an unplugged kind of thing with just guitar and me singing along. And then Bert and I, along with Aina Lopez, who was on the track Fire, we performed, and Marcus Sims and Adrian Parham were the hostesses, the hosts. So we had a great time, and I also can't forget to say that my stepmom came up and laid out a spread of Jamaican food that, you know,
right?
She came all the way from Tuskegee, Alabama.
Ooh, shout out to Mom.
To spread that out and you know, put out that spread and support me and what I was doing. So that was pretty exciting.
It came together really, really good. And that also brings me back to earlier with Inherit the Earth. So I want everyone to, because I want you guys to talk about that for a moment, and then I want us to play that in the podcast for people to hear. But tell us about Inherit the Earth and, you know, what that song means and what people can expect when they're listening to that song.
Well, Inherit the Earth is about, when we wrote it, we looked around, saw what was happening here on Earth, and it seems like the 1% is they're getting more 1%ish, and the 99% to suffer. So, and there's I think in the Beatitudes, the one they refer to as Jesus Christ said that the meek shall inherit the earth, and I guess the rationale behind it is, let everything happen the way it's meant to happen, and let the evil be evil, let the good be good, and see who wins out, who inherits. And it's not as Keisha pointed out, she's like, meekness doesn't mean being passive or being weak or anything like that. It's just knowing who you are and where you stand right now in the struggle. And so that was the main focus behind doing this song. And we, again, wanted it to be light, happy, because, right now, I guess the meek are suffering. And, you know, there's a lot of fear that goes into that suffering. Maybe it's not real suffering, but anticipation or fear could you know, throw us off and make us act like if Trump won the election or something. So, he did. Oh my bad. So we can offset. Wake up. We all waking up.
Come little children, come get your lesson. Come little children, don't miss your blessing. Come little children, Mother Nature is a calling. The meek shall inherit the earth. Shimmy, shimmy, pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop. Shimmy, shimmy, pop. Down, down, baby. Down, down, that roller coaster. Sweet, sweet, baby. I never let you go. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop. Shimmy, shimmy, pop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop. Shimmy, shimmy, pop. Come and get your lesson. Don't you ever miss your blessing.
You are listening to In Tune with T-Mel.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, you know, when we released that video, we did it as a promo to get people excited about the CD release and to give them a taste of what we had produced. And little did we know at that time that it was perfect timing, because it was right before the election and you know, then the election results. And so we wanted, you know, originally we were thinking, you know, this was after Alton Sterling and Castile, after those shootings. And you know, I just want to throw in also, there's a YouTube video where, you know, Bert goes a little more in depth about meekness and what that means in context of what we're going through socially, economically, and politically here in America, because, you know, people are thinking meek. No, we need to fight. No, we need to, you know, you know, burn some buildings down. You know, we need to show out. And I'm not here to promote violence or tell people what they should do. I honestly don't know. I mean, my hands are tied just like everybody else. But we wanted to put some words out there to give people something to think about and to look at the meaning of meekness in a different light. Because we've been taught, you know, again, that meekness is passivity and lying down. But, you know, there are more in-depth meanings to what meekness really means. It's really about yielding to a power that's higher than ourselves. And you need that power, you know, on your side to truly win in the end. And it may look like you're not winning. It may look like all the chips are down. But if you know, stay strong and focused on your faith and walk in that faith, use your talents and abilities, which is what Word Xpress is all about, then we can create the change that we need. You know, and this ties, you know, is tying back to what Word Xpress is all about. You know, we're bringing artists together to collaborate for so many different reasons on so many different levels.
In different mediums as well,
we are the change. Everybody's upset about Trump being president, but we are the change. And Word Xpress is a platform or a vehicle to bring all of us with these talents, these abilities, with a positive mindset and a sense of unity to do something that will create change.
And to get up and do it, whether they're writing or whether they're a poet or whether they're a singer or songwriter,
or a music,
producer, all of these things that you guys are bringing together to express themselves, you know, to get that out there and not just talk about it in a closed circle or on social media back and forth, but to actually put some action behind it, and putting that energy out there, and then putting it out in a positive, uplifting way, to where it's not just, all right, we're going around, we're going to turn up,
exactly.
No, we're going, you know, be meek about it.
Exactly.
I've always thought of the word meek as more or less like in the sense of being humble yet confident, but yet, like you said, surrendering. But at the same time, sort of staying, you know, steadfast in what you believe in and not being moved. So it's kind of like, you know, some of your greatest fighters are, you know, real humble and meek. Some of your, you know, they don't want the accolades, so to speak. They just kind of let it speak for themselves. But then you try to test them or you step to them. It's like, all right, I got to do what I got to do. So it's, you know, meek in the sense that they recognize that there is a higher power, but they also have their own, you know, power, so to speak. And so I think that's what we're missing, is people are missing the fact that we do have power, and not just believing in somebody else and saying, oh, they got all the power. No, you got some your own.
And to put everything, we have to put everything in perspective. When our ancestors were enslaved at a period of time, and they sang a song, and it said Kumbaya, and we were taught by other people that it meant come by here, which it does in a way. But remember, the word Kumba it means creativity, and what Word Xpress has done is use that Kumba and as expression. Expression is the result of creativity. And when we express, it's like a prayer to the Almighty. Now, the slaves, they could have said, Lord, give us weapons. Give us a fast horse to ride out of here. Give us an airplane. Come bomb these people. They're persecuting us. But that's not what they said. They said, make us creative. And if they said that, I think that they were in a better position to know God and his and all that comes along with God than we are right now. So if they were enslaved and being tortured in that manner, and all they could think of is Kumbaya, who are we not to think of Kumbaya? And that's the way I see Word Xpress, and that's also the way I see this song, Inherit the Earth. It's like through our own creativity we will achieve what it is that we're supposed to achieve. But once you pray, there's no need to worry. If you're worrying and praying at the same time, then you're a crazy person. You're schizophrenic. Pick one. Pick one.
But and creativity has no limit. So I like that analogy. They could have prayed for a horse, but with creativity, there's so many different outlets to do whatever it is you need to do.
I'm going to create a horse. I'm going to create, I'm going to create a way, to get out of this. Or a way to get myself through this.
I can build a road. I can build a tunnel. I can,
build a wall.
Right. Build a wall, and that's why God made planes, because you can build a wall all day long, but somebody got to get through it, under it, over it. Somehow. Marcus, what is your or do you have any points that you want to point out, or any questions?
Yeah, I just want to throw it out there to the two of them. When you do when the first show I started doing was a reggae program. And so I've always been a huge fan of reggae music, whether it was roots, dancehall, ska, calypso, any of the family that goes together with reggae music. But to Bert and Keisha, who are some of the artists that influenced you in making this project? Because you got a roots vibe, you've also got dancehall, you've got some R&B vibe, EDM vibe. I mean, it's a lot of stuff in there, and which I really appreciate, because if you know the way reggae is going now, they incorporate all that, and really, it's like Bert said, the Kumba that took place, and it was really thinking ahead, because that's when I listen to a lot of the reggae artists now. They incorporate all that. They just don't have just a straight. I love the roots vibe, but they also have some hip hop. Steve Marley uses a lot of hip hop artists. He uses a lot of hip hop artists. But who are some of the artists that influenced you when making this project?
Well, I'll tell you about that. But first, I want to say what you just stated is so significant, because it's a symptom of what's happening on a greater level. What we have are different genres of music from different geographical locations in the diaspora, in the African world, coming together to form something different. And so when I see Stephen Marley get together with Nas, and they produce some really good music.
I love that album.
Don't you know?
I love that.
That's Kumba again. It's bringing us together. And what the enemy does very well, and for millennium, it's called divide and conquer, and divide and rule. And so if we're coming together, we're defeating the weapons used by our enemy. And of course, I forgot the original
question. Well, I'll help you get started. Because these are really. I'm loving this conversation. With Bert being from Trini, he really likes ska. And so he told, you already had this song written out. And when he came into the studio, it was already written. It was something that was on the shelf collecting dust. And I said, why don't you bring that in?
Right.
Let's hear it and let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah.
And, we played around with it for a while, but, finally the light bulb came on and Bert said, I really like ska music. He brought a CD and gave it to Keith Reeves, the producer. And Keith created the track, and we were like, oh my God, we love it. And so that was how, he's obviously a ska lover. Any other artists you wanted to mention? I
love ska. I'm from Trinidad. In Trinidad, the indigenous music, I should say, is called soca, which is a derivative of calypso, which is the parent of, one of the parents of reggae. If you put calypso and soul music together and give them a room, reggae will be born. Wow. And that's exactly what happened back in the late 50s and the early 1960s.
I hope y'all taking y'all notes.
and speaking of notes, again, like I said, when we first got started, before we even started writing, before we even producing the music, the question was, what are the things we want to accomplish? And my thinking was, when people hear reggae, the first thing they think of is Sean Paul, Bob Marley, Buju Banton, and it's so much bigger than that. So we wanted to educate people on the different genres of reggae as well. Myself personally, I grew up with jazz, crazy Miles Davis fan, Horace Silver, Thelonious Monk, all of them. Crazy Hendrix fan. I love Hendrix. And I used to, inside secret, my way of dealing with all of my pain as a teenager, when my parents left, my dad, this is back when there were turntables. My dad had this huge record collection with all of these LPs. I would put on Reggae Sunsplash 1982 or 81 with Steel Pulse, Ku Klux Klan, what's the other one? Raid Blues Dance, Roller Skate. I used to pretend I was on stage singing these songs.
But that was an escape,
that was my escape. I listened to Bob. I listened to Peter Tosh. I listened to Bunny. I listened to, I said Steel Pulse. Oh my God, Black Uhuru, Oswald. Who else? There's one other group that I was just absolute, Burning Spear. I used to listen to all of those, and my dad had, I can't remember. It was another group, 2-7's Clash. Culture. I love them.
Right.
I love them.
I gotta check out all
and I recorded them on cassette tapes, and I played them when I was driving in the car. But that was my way of getting away. And so that's the music I grew up on. Jazz, even blues, Lightning Hopkins, Led Zeppelin, The Doors, The Smiths. I listened to everything, and I was kind of the weird one in high school because everybody else was singing SWV and, and I love hip hop too. Crazy about hip hop. My cousins had a cousin from New York, and she would record some of the music on the radio station, and they would pass it on to me. You remember the double cassette tape boom box. So I record off exactly.
I was telling him I take the cassette and pop out the little thing in the top and pop it
right.
Put some tape in it or put some tissue in it.
Right. And when the cassette tape broke, I was I became a master at taping it together and be praying. Please let us see. I can't lose this tape because I would play that the bridge, the bridge. All of that music. So I hardly ever listened to the radio. I was always wanting to hear something new and something different, and that's what we tried to do with this project. Try to create something new, something different.
If you think about it now, back in the day, your cousin in New York or a cousin in Trinidad or somebody in California, there was a point in time to where they could send you those tapes and you could, you felt like you were in New York or you felt like you were in Trinidad. Now, when you go to New York, the station almost sounds exactly like where you left in Atlanta or when you were in California. And now, like, the stations sort of sound the same wherever you go, which I don't know if it's by design or by what. I'm sure you got some that are a little bit different, but it's sort of like, at least for me now when I'm going and I'm traveling, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Not that I'm going way across the world, but they start to sound the same. There's no personality to it. So when I go to New York, I feel like I'm in Atlanta because they're playing the same music that's playing in Atlanta, as opposed to
it's like the culture's gotten watered down. Mm-hmm. It's gotten watered down because why? Well, why do you think?
It's
commercialism.
I think commercialism, also globalism, which is a bigger part of what commercialism is leading into globalism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And globalism says if you can buy a small French fries in Huntsville, Alabama, you should be able to get the same thing in Nairobi, Kenya. Right? So in order to do that, you have to diminish the value and the nutritional value of the food that you're serving.
And because you got to produce more of it now.
More of it and identical to over there. So it's easier to do a chemical formula and it's actually go out in the field and grow.
Well, I thought you were going to say something different. And that's true, but also we've got artists, because of the globalism, we're like exchanging culture. You know, I mean, look at Beyonce. Beyonce is picking up on, some of the Latin and the African, and all of that is being infused in our music. And we wanted to have a global sound, and so we tried to do that as well.
I mean, exactly. I mean, to answer your question earlier, I think it's that, but then also I think what people started to see was the power. The marketing power and the commercial power of music. And so, again, it was like, okay, well, there's a lot of power in this, to whereas companies before, Mercedes-Benz or, Louis Vuitton or whatever, wasn't going for a hip-hop or reggae or whatever, but then they started to see the power in it, and now you got reggae in these commercials, or you got hip-hop in these brands that would never, even deal with hip-hop. And though Tommy Hilfiger or whoever doesn't want to claim it, they haven't stopped selling the clothes, because if it was that big of a deal where they didn't want, they would pull the clothes out. If you wanted to be that gangster about it, like, I don't want y'all wearing my clothes, well, you would pull it from the racks where they were in these neighborhoods. But obviously, this is your biggest market. And so these people are selling you clothes, your Timberlands and whatever.
Right,
so they saw that power and they're like, oh, bet we're going to give y'all way more of this. And then that machine came out.
Right.
So now they just cranking out hip-hop all day long, 24/7.
Assimilation.
To agree with what you're saying is exactly, I agree, point for point, because hip-hop defied what everyone said. They kept saying, I remember 1981, I believe, is when Rapper's Delight hit. And it hit the charts, and everybody says, yeah, hip-hop is going to last about a year and then die. And here we are.
Right. And it's still young. Hip-hop is only, 30-something years old?
And it's still growing.
Young compared to rock, blues, and reggae and all these other forms. It's like the youngest form of music.
Right.
And I just want to throw in, it's interesting because you talk about the music and all and the commercialism. Music always does that, though. It has these periods where it seems like it has its ups and downs, where you got some really great music, then you may go 3 or 4 years where you don't have any good music, where it seems like everything's so commercial, everything is so Fergie or Miley Cyrus or Iggy Azalea music. But then there's also an underground, still some really great music that, there's never that there isn't any great music. Sometimes we just have to look a little harder.
Right.
And that's the problem with globalism. Because what globalism, hip-hop defied all conventions, and it produced in many different industries. So you had the clothing industry being affected by hip-hop. Cap wearing backwards, that's a hip-hop style. You had the auto industry being influenced by hip-hop.
They started changing their speakers.
They changed the speakers, they changed the rims, they changed the paint, they changed the height off the ground, they changed everything. So hip-hop and it's still affecting industries. So therefore industries, they adapt hip-hop. Whenever big business takes over art, you have a diminishment of that art. And so when big business took over hip-hop and spread it, they didn't spread the soul of hip-hop. They spread the effect of hip-hop. And that's what they keep spreading. But in the meantime, like you just pointed out, T, there are real artists who are producing, they're just not getting airplay.
Right.
In every genre. They're still producing, they're making wonderful music. We just don't get to hear it because it doesn't sell.
And the thing is, with one thing that I just thought about when you said that was the effects that hip hop has had. Because hip hop, we think of it as a genre, but it's also a lifestyle. So, the caps, the clothes, the slang, the mannerisms, whatever, that's a lifestyle, such as reggae as well, or some of these other forms. But then I think of what hip hop has done, and then I think of, so to give y'all like the biggest, example that I can give y'all, and I could be wrong, but you look at, reality TV, and you look at what celebrities used to do on Twitter, or you look at when people used to talk, back and forth on social media, and they would get attention. They would just say things just for shock value and do this, that, and the other. And then reality TV sort of became this from the real world all the way up until we started to have the Real Housewives of Atlanta and shock value and just doing this, that, and the other. If you look at that model, and then I'm going to say it, then I'm going to get back off of it, but it just looks like a really good one. That's exactly what Donald Trump did. He adopted like a hip-hop sort of edge where it's like, I'm just going to say whatever I want to say.
I said that the other day. Like, I said that the other day. He's using that same shock value.
Himself, like that. It was in that same realm where this is how I'm going to communicate.
Right.
This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to hop on Twitter.
I'm going to be off the chain.
Exactly. I'm going to say the most craziest stuff in these bites, and then people adapt, bought that bait.
Right.
And then he just reeled everybody in. Like, I'm going to give you the greatest show on earth.
Right.
I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And then next, so I'm off that. But to show y'all, like, hip hop created that. Like, we created that sort of medium to where it's, look, I got something to say, and you're going to listen to me, and I'm going to say how I feel and whatever, and I'm going to get paid for it. I'm going to get endorsements, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get that. So, but you're right. But what I like about what Word Xpress is doing is that, again, you guys are giving people that platform to bring their creativity and their expression and to be heard, and to not just feel like, oh man, nobody's gonna listen to this music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't. I've got to be commercial. I've got to sell.
That's very important. So I want to add, speaking of hip hop, I used to rap in high school.
Hey,
right. But so there's a little bit of hip hop that's added to the project. We've got hip hop, we've got ska, we've got dubstep, we've got jazz, blues, just a whole genre of a plethora of genres on the project. And you just said something that was very important. It was so important to stress to our artists, please don't try to sound like somebody else.
Be yourself. Just
be yourself. We really wanted this to be original and and out of the box. We Keith naturally produces things that are just out of the box. That's one of his markers. I'm just kind of weird anyway, so but that was something that we really stressed, and so we understand that may be sort of a challenge marketing wise, but we just kind of wanted to stretch ourselves and show people, hey, you don't have to sound like everybody else to sound good.
Right. But you're right. It shouldn't have to be a challenge to say, hey, be yourself.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, how do I do that? Because they've been being someone else for so long.
Well, if you're in the shower and you're singing your favorite Rihanna song, or you're singing your favorite, Keisha Cole or whatever,
you don't care who listens.
You don't realize that you're imitating somebody else, and you're not really singing from who you are. And writing your own music kind of puts you in that place where you're forced to do that. How would I express this? I've got the words here, but as far as inflection and tone and emotion, how would I express this versus how Beyonce would sing it? So now you're it makes you go into yourself and discover who you are. That's what's beautiful about art. It's a challenge. but you know, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience to, you know, to realize this is who I am and this is how I express myself. And you grow in confidence and self-love and self-respect when you can get to that place.
You know, I want to say I appreciate the fact what Keith Reeves did on the project for the production, because, you know, when I hear the songs, none of them sound the same. Like you mentioned, each song has its own identity, which is important, because I'm thinking about the classic album everyone should have, Bob Marley's Legend. Each song tells a different story. If you want something romance, if you want to get up and riot, if you want to sit there and just dance, if you just want to sit there and chill out, but each song tells a different story for you that makes, it's one reason why it's like the perfect album, because everything's on there, from Exodus to Waiting in Vain to Stir It Up to all those great songs. And that's why I think of the Word Xpress project. You got a song like Birdsong, Inherit the Earth. It has that heavy ska influence, which, you know, you don't sit down to a ska song. Like, you don't sit down to gospel, you don't sit down to a ska song. And then you go to Rose Petals. And Rose Petals has that heavy bass line dub effect with the strong message in it. Then you got Crazy. Then you got, you know, I'm thinking of the songs top of my head, but each song tells a different story. Fire. Each song different. Right. And each song is something different, and it takes you on the dance floor. You can be thinking, you can drive down the street, and I think that's what makes this project so important, was that, you know, we've heard CDs all the time, and I love hip hop artists, but it's like, okay, so what's the difference between track 1 and track 3? You said your content was, you said the exact same thing. You talked about, you know, smoking, violence, and all that. Okay, well, guess what? You said on track 1, track 5, track 7, track 9, track 10. I appreciate the diversity.
And Keith has worked with various artists here in Huntsville, you know, in different genres as well. You know, he himself used to break dance and rap. He probably wouldn't want me to tell you about the breakdancing part. You know, and he's worked with you know, some folks who have done like a alternative indie kind of feel to, you know, more of a pop. You know, he's done a little bit of, you know, R&B. So, you know, he's eclectic in that way, where he can you know, I bet if you put country in front of him, he could do it. Well, see, if he really wanted to.
Yeah, that's the reason why, because, you know, just like you mentioned before, you listen to all these different reggae albums coming up, or jazz, or hip-hop, rock, blues, all these different things. And then as an artist, I don't know of really, I can't name too many artists that have one specific influence that they grew up on, and they're a very eclectic artist today. So usually they grew up listening to all this obscure music. You know, most of your artists that are in whatever genre that they're in, they probably listen to 50% of something else, you know, and not the genre that they're in. They may listen. You have a hip hop artist, they may listen to a lot of blues. I imagine Nas listens to a lot of blues, or a lot of, you know, old school soul and whatnot, just because the way that he rhymes on a beat, it's got a very jazz-ish type, you know, feel to it. So by you guys listening to all the different music, and then Keith with his different influences, I think artists, let's talk about that real quick. I mean, should artists listen to, you know, and try to open their palette up? You know, what's some of the advantages to listening to country music, or listening to different genres of music to sort of open up your creative palette, so to speak?
Music is its own language, and we all speak that language. And it doesn't matter who's speaking to us, we can understand, and there's something we can gain from it. So I love country music. If it's good,
they got great stories. That's my mother had to teach me that. Country music tells great stories.
By the same token, I do not like country music if it's not good.
Right.
So if whatever's good speaks to us as humans, if it's done well, and if it's artistic, it'll speak to you. And it's up to us to allow it to come. Like, for years I never listened to the classics because classical music is boring. It's boring. I grew up with that in my mind until I started listening on the radio to, you know, on the way to work, and I fell in love with the music, with the art form. And I think anyone who really loves music will fall in love with every musical art genre.
You'll find something
that's done
right.
If it's artistic, it's going to appeal to you.
I think listening to a variety of genres of music is very important. Something about it just opens your mind, you know. They say classical music is good for studying and, you know, brain development in young children. And I can't get scientific about all music, but something about it, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just opens you up creatively. If you listen to Crazy, it sort of has a Billie Holiday feel to it, the way I sing it. So it wasn't deliberate. I think it was more subconscious. It wasn't until later I was like, this kind of reminds me of, the way Billie Holiday sings some of her songs. So that influence was there, but just opening, I mean, it's like, who wants to eat fried chicken every day?
I do.
All the time.
Chicken wings,
and nothing else?
Right.
And nothing else? Okay.
I wouldn't be able to...
that one might not work. We're here in the South. That one might not work. We're here in the South. But no, seriously.
Right.
It's like, I want something sweet. I want something salty. I want something, pungent. Variety in any area is good. I mean, why would we want to live in a black and white world? Green and lime green versus, a deep grassy green or an olive green or a hunter green. It just opens up and expands the colors of your world when you choose to listen to different kinds of music. And and I'll be honest, I kind of got stuck on listening to one kind of music until I got in the studio with Keith. And Keith, he goes on Google Play and he's like listening to all these artists, and then he was playing music. I was he had these ideas and I was like but then he introduced me to MIA, who's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
And all these other, people that, are really doing some unique stuff. And I'm like, ooh, I got to catch up.
Yeah, and it shows you the world. It's sort of like listening to music, sort of like your escape to somewhere else and experience something else. Like your mind is able to. It's
a whole nother culture.
Yeah.
It's like, step into a whole nother culture.
Whether it's rock or, MIA
and,
or
who wants to... And don't say me. Who wants to stay in Huntsville all the time? Who doesn't want to travel to New York or go to LA or go to Taiwan or go to Japan or go to London and experience something different? That's why listening to other forms of music is so important.
And it's sort of, again, if you listen to an artist from Japan, if it's a really authentic artist that is expressing themselves to be honest, they're not trying to be an American artist, they're not trying to be a whatever type of artist, they're really being themselves, you can get a dose of what it's like to be over there. You may have to get a Google Translator out or something, and all right, so this is what they're talking about, this is the clothes, or this is how they talk about this, or this is where they hang out, and this, that, and the other. But when you get down to the grit of it, we're all the same. It's just like you guys mentioned earlier, the Nas and Damian Martin. We're all distant relatives.
Right.
We all eat somewhere. We all go to our favorite place to eat. We all party, or we do this, we do that. We all, get mad about this or sad about that, or we fall in love, and all these different emotions. We just say it a different way. Yeah. We all speak the same language. It's just different slang. And it's just named different. So instead of eating fried chicken over here, they're gonna eat dodo wop or something, or sushi, or whatever it is, and they're gonna eat something else, but they may talk about it in their own way. So we may glorify this one thing, they may glorify whatever.
Right.
So I think that it's like that universal language. That we talk about.
Yeah.
And Tim, you were telling me the other day though, you got introduced to reggae and all that. If you remember, you said through the Baja Men Who Left the Dogs Out. I was like, you never heard no other artist before that? You told me specifically the other day. You were like, yeah, man, my favorite group was, I used to play them all the time. Who Let the Dogs?
You know what? Ironically, I might, and if I'm not mistaken, I might have, and I'm trying to remember because it could be something else, but at least my earliest memory of reggae music was probably on WJAB, because at least, I know I probably heard it through something else and whatnot, but I think just being a child that just listened to the radio raised me. I had different stations and everything, but it was able to hear, okay, this, jazz that's coming on at this hour, or this gospel that's coming on at this hour, and then now reggae that's coming on at this hour, and then of course hip hop, because hip hop, had those influences or those early samples, and things like that. So, real question. So, I told y'all what mine is. This fried chicken, or not even fried chicken. I say buffalo wings. So, if there was a food that you could eat for the rest of your life, and they had to say, all right, this is what you get. This is all that you're gonna get for the rest of your life. What is that food? What would that food be? Let's start with you, Keisha. What's that food?
Macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese. There you go. Macaroni and cheese. Bert, what you got?
Roti.
Okay.
I knew it.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Curry and Herb. My grandmother used to eat roti. Man, every weekend, my grandmother was getting roti. Marcus Sims.
Gosh, nachos. I'm so easy. Just put cheese and nacho chips together. I'm so easy.
That's what I'm talking about.
All y'all out.
We need to have a potluck. We need to have some roti. We need to have some nachos, some macaroni and cheese, and some buffalo wings. Put it all together, and we can go to town.
And incense.
And some incense. There you go. And play the project. Listen to the music,
Can I just, mention some of the artists that are here on the project? So, of course, Keith is the producer. Myself, I'm on various tracks, and Bert is on various tracks. But we've also got, I mentioned earlier, Aina Lopez, who is on the EDM/reggae track called Fire. We've got Ariel McClendon, who is on the dubstep track Killer. And we've got Remy Sherrod on the dancehall track with myself, Fight No More. So those are the artists that are currently on the project. And I say currently because there's a possibility we may do more music further on down the road. The second half of the project is going to include, I don't even know what to call them. They're not youth. I guess you call them young adult poets, that are between the ages of 19 and 24, who will be, sharing some of their original poetry. So hopefully we'll have that out by the end of the year. Okay. I can't put it in stone, but that's the goal.
We got some time, we got some time. It's just February.
And if you're listening, to those of you who are listening, there is a free download on the WXReggaeProject.com website. Fire is a free download. Just, put in your email address. You get the free download, and you'll also get newsletters with updates about what we have coming up next. And the music will also be available through various online stores like iTunes and Spotify and what's the other big one? Google Play and several others by February 24th.
And I don't feel like holding the wall up. Let the phone catch you ever make call up. Hey DJ, pump up the rhythm. But I'm low the speaker at fire. Cut them all, roll the boat, rubber bounce, cut them all, roll the boat, rubber bounce.
Hi, this is Massie Cruz. You're listening to In Tune with T-Mill, playing the best indie music worldwide.
And two quick things. One, you guys, that site is wxreggaeproject.com. wxreggaeproject.com. But here's my challenge to everybody that's out there. Now, I always say this, and I get up on my soapbox for a quick little minute, then I hop right back off. But, so this is my part of the show where I say that there's no excuse. So you guys, there's somebody out there right now that says, music is garbage. I can't find great music. They don't do music like they used to do back in the day. I wish I had some music that was true to form and that was creative and that was just people expressing themselves. I wish I had music that was poetry. I wish there was some great reggae music or local music that was dance and that was EDM and that was ska and that was this and that was that, calypso and all this music that they're looking for. Okay, so if you're listening to this show right now, or you know that person that has been looking for that music, this is that part of their life where there's no excuse. So this is that point in your life where you can go out and support. Because here's the thing, it's all about balance. So there's while there's nothing wrong with a lot of the music that's out there, so to speak, it's just unbalanced. Mm-hmm. And so, I like some of the music that's out on the radio. I like some of the music that's coming up, but at the same time, I like it as a balance. I wish there was more music, like the Word Xpress Reggae Project and a lot of the local artists, just universally all these artists that are out here. And that's where I think it's just off balance a lot. Yeah. So we need to, and I say we, the same way that we go out and spend $150 for, a Beyonce ticket, or, we spend $60 to get into the Super Bowl club party or whatever. The same way that we might buy 6 pieces of chicken or some buffalo wings or whatever it is, we can support music. We have to put our money where we want to support, or our support where we want to support. Whether that be an email address, whether that be a shout out, or whether that be a follow. Again, I say that to say if you want to see more of this music, or you want to hear more of this music, or just anything that you're passionate about and that you want to support it. Because I think what happens is we start to fall short, and I do it the same, which is why I say it, because we want all these things, but then we don't go out and support these things. Yeah. And we keep going, I want this and I want that, and it's like we want somebody else to do it for us. Nah, we got to do it. We got to show up to these shows or the shows that are in your area, and it doesn't have to be even this. Whatever it is that you do support or that you want to see more of, you've got to do your part, whether that be signing up on an email, following, or putting on a Spotify playlist, or buying the album. And again, if you think about all the money that we waste, if I thought about all the, matter of fact, if I stopped buying buffalo wings for 1 year and I just put it into music, just local music, oh my God.
You can support a lot of artists.
Somebody would be in college right now. Like, with all that I do. Man, that might be, I ain't gonna say that. I'll find another way, because I can't do that to myself. I can, but I can't. So, but again, I definitely want you guys to go to wxreggaeproject.com and check out the music. Again, check out there's a free download that you guys can get as well. And then to find them on, or once it gets on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and whatnot.
Yeah, the music's on the website, but I was just sharing that. Yeah. It will be in those other places. And they're also, our videos are also there, and more information about each of the artists and the things that we have coming up.
Absolutely.
So check us out.
Yeah.
I just like to add that I feel like we're really blessed living here in this community because of the abundance of art forms and
something
artists
going on. Like it's something. Yeah.
And I just wanted to pay respects to my good friend Marcus Sims because this man here, he is one of the most underrated art promoters and artists in our community. And a lot of people don't realize the depth, how deep he goes. And this man has national awards for his show. He's the one that was responsible for putting together or summoning the only reggae band in this area to ever, be viable and successful. And that was because of Marcus Sims. I just like to say, shout out to you and keep doing it, Marcus.
I apprate it, B.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And I want my check, too.
You got it.
Yeah. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Shout out to the jalapeno cheddar peanuts, And so, and then one thing, and then before we get out of here, you guys have any other shout outs or anything to let the people know about, any announcements?
There's so many people who are involved in this project, like Dwight Pope. He was he was the one that originated that sparked this whole thing off, and I'd like to. That's my longtime friend. I just like to say he's another underrated person in our community. He's an artist, a motivator, speaker, and organizer, and a very good promoter as far as PR is concerned.
Dwight
we have
busy.
We have so many talents in our community. If we put them to work for our community, it'll be interesting. To see where we get.
And Dwight as well is another one of the people that as well as I look at a few people that sort of and they may not know that they do it, but they put me in check to when I start to think about, oh man, okay, we need to get this and we need to get that and we need to get this, and they like, T, we got it. It's this person here or that person here or this person. So it's like using the resources that we already have instead of looking for, oh, I want to go to the Breakfast Club. Well, go to WJAB first.
Sure.
Or I want to go to Full Sail and learn how to produce. Well, go to the Maitland Conservatory. You got a conservatory right here.
Exactly.
I want to go to a studio, or I want to do reggae music, or I want to book a reggae band. Whatever it is. Like, we have the resources here, and we got the eyeballs on us. There's people that are looking at Huntsville, Alabama for entertainment. There's so much business and commerce and everything that's coming here. And so we have all the tools that we need right here to do whatever it is.
And I think we're all gradually beginning to realize that. And what I really love about this community is that there are there are folks like us. There's, Mario, there's you, there's Word Xpress, there's Dwight. We want to bring all of this talent together in our community. We are rich. We are abundant and prosperous already, overflowing. And so if we can get everybody with that mindset, we can do some powerful things here. Some powerful things here, but it's a matter of working together and staying focused on the common goal, and that is to create, produce, inspire, and we all can win. We can create win-win situations for everyone, but as long as there's competition and pushing people out and excluding and scratching and clawing to get to the top before the next person,
there's way too much money and opportunity. It's not going to run out. Like, we keep acting like it's good. Like, if I push this person away, then I can get it because I need to get to it first, because if I don't get it, then it's just going to go away. There's way more than enough money.
But here's the thing. Here's the thought I had. Take, for example, the Isabel brothers and Last Disciples. They are headed to L.A. Every time one of us gets to that level or gets outside of the boundaries like that, it opens up something on a supernatural level for all of us to go in that, to do the same thing. To do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So, if Word Xpress, one of our songs hits London, it opens things up for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody loses.
And there's somebody listening right now that may have a cousin or somebody that they know in some other country or some other state that needs to hear this music. And so that person that would just take that selfless service and say, hey man, we got this group here, I heard about this show, I heard about this group, called Word Xpress. They got this project, it's great music, just listen to it, let me know what you think. Whatever. And then just leave it at that.
Right.
They don't have to do any favors. They don't have to make it some big grand email. Whatever. Just, hey, let me know what you think. And just share like we used to, or the cousin in New York. Hey, this is what I'm listening to down here. Go listen to it where you are. And then just let it be that and let it do what it's supposed to do. It'll do what it's supposed to do on its own.
Do what it's supposed to do
on
its own.
All we got to do is, move it and share it and let people know what it is, because you never know what's going to happen in that opportunity by it being in California or this or that. And we always come across this thing where we're like, oh man, if I just would have brought this with me, you know, that I could share this with this person or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going on vacation, you know, you just never know. You always are going to meet. Every one of us have been in that situation to where we went somewhere and we're like, oh man, you know what, I needed to share this with you, or show this, I got something this at home, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so we always need to continue to share things like that. So definitely, man. So I want to give it up for our guests. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely. And I know we got off to a rough start, but we made it. We created, you know,
created our
thing, you know, made it and created. And to those of you that are listening, whether you're listening live or you're listening to the podcast, or you're listening to the podcast now. But if you're listening, no matter where you're listening from, if you have a question that you have for our guests, make sure that you leave it wherever you're listening. If you're listening on iTunes, I will get it. No matter what platform that you're listening to it on. If you have a question for them, how you can get in touch with them, if there was a part of the show that you wanted to elaborate more on or continue the discussion, either leave us an email at asktmail@gmail.com, or you can find Word Xpress on all your social media platforms, and that's Word Xpress on your social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, absolutely, or the website, Instagram, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. That you can ask these questions, and the conversation doesn't have to stop here.
Right.
You know, I want you guys to hit them up. Well, how come y'all didn't talk about this? Or how come y'all didn't talk about that? You know, or I got a question about this, or because you all listen to interviews and then you like they talk about it for 2 minutes and then they go on to something else, and it's like, how come they ain't finished talking about that? Oh man, I wish they would have.
Got to talk about chicken wings.
Right. Got to talk about chicken wings. They ain't talk about nothing else after that. So I got hungry. I had to go do something else. So you guys, thank you again, and we are. I got 2-3 things going. I'm trying to do this live thing and do the my phone's not cutting on, but that's all right. So we there it is. All right, so I want also, so In Tune with T-Mill is powered by Paradox East, PalisadeHills.net, and the Maitland Conservatory, the MaitlandConservatory.org, which strives to bring inner talents to fruition. The Maitland Conservatory is a community-based contemporary arts education entity designed to give students hands-on training and experience in areas such as music production, contemporary instrumental training, vocal coaching, leadership, and more. What makes them unique is their specialized curricula, their growth and matriculation concept, infusion of positivity, their foundational edifice, leadership, and their core connection. Visit them now. Check them out on Facebook. Tell them that T-Mill sent you, themaitlandconservatory.org. Stop going to YouTube trying to figure out how to play piano. Stop going to YouTube trying to Google how to produce or how to... Look, you have a place right here in the Rocket City. Just come up, talk to them, get you a tour. Come in, look at the spot. You know, you don't have to take my word for it. I could be lying to you. Come up here, look around for yourself, and see what awaits. And you can have someone that if you want to make it happen, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll make an excuse. So come up to MaitlandConservatory.org if you're trying to be serious about your career. One of the other things that they do is they're going to teach you the same thing that you're going to get at Full Sail. They're going to teach you the same thing you're going to get at Berkeley Music. Shout out to all of them, but they're really expensive. So we want you guys to come up here to Maitland to learn not only how to play the instruments, but what to do with that business once you do learn how to play that instrument. How to score a film. They got 5-year-olds in here learning how to score films. I didn't know how to do none of that, and I still don't know how to do any of that. But you can learn how to do that and turn it into a business, your music publishing, your split sheets, your how to make money with it. Not just going to show you when you go to some of these places that teach you these things, they're going to give you that other element to know what to do with it and not leave you with a big debt at the end of it and you owe $45,000 and now you don't know where you're going to get hired at. All right, so visit the MaitlandConservatory.org, and shout out to JQ, Vonda, the team, the squad, and Eric Echoes, PalisadeHills.net, which provides all of the music. If you're doing a TV or a film or a video or a radio show, man, look, Stop getting music illegally offline and downloading these instrumentals that you ain't paid these people for to put on your show, and go get you some royalty-free licensed music. Or hit up some of these producers that are in the area. You know, call up some of these producers. Call up Keith Reeves, man. Call him up and get you some music for your show and stop stealing people's music, man. All right? So, I'm off the soapbox. This is In Tune with T-Mill. I want to thank our guests, Word Xpress, and Keith. I'm Bert. I'm saying Keith. I'm thinking about the producing still. For you guys for hanging out with us, man. And make sure you guys also check out the band Kush, all right? I know 420 is coming up, and I know y'all thinking about some of that other Kush, but we're talking about the reggae band, all right? So shout out to everybody as well. And it's Super Bowl Sunday, so does anybody have any predictions on the game? 'Cause I'm gonna call it Dirty Birds. I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the ATL, you know.
I think Atlanta has a 50% chance of winning.
Yeah, they do.
You're a wise man.
Thank you.
Keisha, the look on your face says otherwise.
I don't have a clue. I haven't been keeping up. I'm an NBA chick, so you know.
Okay.
I just keep up with basketball. I don't really do football.
Okay. Well, you got to pick one. You never know. You could be, you could pick the winning, the winning team.
Look, I ain't getting no money. Unless you're gonna be playing my music during the commercial break or halftime.
Right.
It really doesn't concern me.
Right. Tough, isn't she? Hey, business. You know what I'm saying? Business minded. You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys, and this is another episode of In Tune with T-Mill. We will see you guys on the next episode. Once again, you can listen to us live every Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're live from the MaitlandConservatory.org. Visit ParadoxEast.com to listen or subscribe on iTunes. Subscribe on wherever you listen to your podcast at. That's where we're at. And if you find one that we're not there, let me know. And it's probably in another language, but let me know where it is, and then we'll get it on there. All right? We are out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to In Tune with T-Mill.